Hello and welcome to MINYIP. I'm your host, Blake, for our FPL Gameweek 14-15 FPL preview show. Clinton, how are you?
Good, thank you, Blake. That was a bit of a tongue twister.
Let's do that again.
No, leave it. So it was good. It was a good start. So I think it's purely because we're recording now on Tuesday night. The game week just finished, and now there's games on tomorrow morning. So by the time people actually watch or listen to this, the game week 14 would have already probably started. But yes, it's a bit of a crazy time for FPL. But yes, there's games midweek and then the weekend, which is why we're doing a 2-for-1 show. And yes, that's why it was a bit of a tongue twister for you.
It's a great start to the show. I'm all over the place already, so it's a great start. It was quite a good representation of how my FPL team went on the weekend. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in terms of fixtures and players not scoring for me. So we'll get stuck right into the show. So we'll go through the results of last game week.
Before we start, Blake, you might need to mention where we were on Saturday.
Yes, for those who are following our Twitter page now, it's a new cover photo. We were in MINYIP, the namesake of our show. We're in the small town of MINYIP for our nephew's 18th birthday. So if you're watching the show, happy birthday again, Bailey. Hope you had a good night. But yeah, it's good to be back in MINYIP. So the overall's looking great, Nick.
And the intruder in the photo is our brother Lachlan, by the way.
Yeah, we couldn't have a photo without Lachlan being in the middle. It was quite a squinchy photo. We're looking into the sun at twilight, but that's all right. You'll forgive us for that. All right, let's get into the results from last game week. The first game of the round was Arsenal-Newcastle. Arsenal won 2-0. My bold prediction was Smith Rowe to score 10 FPL points. Wasn't actually that bold, but he did not achieve this feat, and my score prediction was 3-1. So I was off there, Clinton. What was your predictions?
I was a long way off. My bold prediction was Lacazette would score more than 10, and he didn't start, so that wasn't it.
It's a great start.
I thought he'd be actually in line for a start there, but and my score prediction was 3-0, so I was one off. Yeah. One off there, but I was happy with the Arsenal win. The boys are back.
I wouldn't say being Newcastle, but that's all right. The next game is Crystal Palace got defeated by Aston Villa 2-1. My prediction was that the goals scored by Aston Villa would be by their defenders, and I wasn't too far off at all. It was McGinn that stuffed it up for me. He scored a goal from the midfield.
He didn't stuff it up. He did a good job.
No, he stuffed up my defenders scoring my goals. But my score prediction was correct. I had Crystal Palace losing 1-2. So it was 1 point on the board for me. Finally kicked me off on the scoreboard there, Clinton.
Well played. My prediction was Watkins to score more than 10 fantasy points, which didn't come through. And the score prediction was 2-2, which was once again just one goal off, but not quite.
Yeah, pretty close. Liverpool 4-0 versus Southampton 0. My bold prediction was Trent Alexander-Arnold to be involved in every goal.
How close were you, Blake?
He played pretty well, but Robertson was in amongst the goals. Jota was definitely involved in the goals. He cut off Salah for the first goal. He played pretty well, but he wasn't involved in all 4 of their goals. My score prediction was 5-0, so just one off there.
I had Sadio Mane to score more than 14 fantasy points, and I'll get to my team soon, which I need to have a bit of a rant about. So that failed about Mane, but then my score prediction was 5-0, which was once again one off, I believe.
Yeah, we had the same prediction there. In the next game, Norwich 0-0 draw with Wolves. So our predictions of having Hwang to score a goal, and I had Jimenez. And my score prediction was 1-3. You had Pookie and Hwang, is that right?
Yes, and my score prediction was 1-2, so we were both way off.
Yep, that was very very uneventful match, that one. Brighton also had a 0-0 draw versus Leeds, which was very surprising to me. I thought Leeds would be able to break through and score. My score prediction was 1-2, and I had Dallas to score a goal, so I was way off there.
No, I wasn't too surprised because that's the score prediction that I had, Blake. I had 0-0, so that's my one and only score for the weekend in terms of predictions. My bold prediction was it would be the only 0-0 game, but Norwich and Wolves ruined that for me. So once again, pretty close.
Yeah, unlucky there that Norwich and Wolves was also 0-0. Brentford defeated Everton 1-0. My bold prediction was Townsend would score a goal from a set piece. Everton didn't score a goal, so I was off there, and my score prediction was 1-1. So Everton let me down there.
I had Brentford to win 2-0, so I had the right team winning, just off by one goal, and I foolishly backed Bomo to score more than 10 fantasy points, and I'll get to the score predictions for this week or tomorrow's game soon, but I'll have to avoid trying to just barrack for my fantasy players because it didn't quite work out with my bold predictions.
Yeah, it makes for a tough weekend if your team doesn't go well. Your bold predictions will be a fair way off as well. Then in the Leicester-Watford game, it was a high score.
Hang on.
Oh, no, sorry.
There was a game which was Burnley and Tottenham.
I was going to say that after the round, but yeah, you go ahead.
The reason why I want to keep it in order because my bold prediction was that Kane and Son were going to blank. So is that a technical?
No.
You sure?
I'm not.
You sure? They blanked.
Yeah, but
that was my bold prediction.
I knew you would try and claim this, and I'm not having it at all.
You sure?
The fixture is going to come up again. You can say the same prediction when the fixture comes up again whenever they replay it, but I'm not giving you Kane and Son blanking when no minutes were played by anyone.
Well, technically I was correct, so.
Yeah, you're right. They didn't score any goals or get an assist, but no one did, so I'm not allowing it.
Okay.
Leicester defeated Watford 4-2. My bold prediction was Vardy to score 2 goals, which succeeded. So it's another point for me on the scoreboard. My scoreline prediction was 3-0.
Not far off. My prediction was 1-1, which was a long way off, and I had Sissoko to score 3 or more fantasy points, and he didn't. He still kept his form, and I think he scored 2, I believe. So, no, disappointing, really? Sissoko. One day.
Did he really score another 2 points?
Oh, it might have been 1. I'm not sure. I'll have to check.
It's unbelievable if he scores another 1 or 2 points. Man City 2-1 versus West Ham. My bold prediction was that Man City would concede 2 goals. I was watching this game and it wasn't too far off. They had a lot of chances, West Ham, but Benrahma had a poor first touch. They were trying to get him on the breakaway, but couldn't quite. So that didn't come ahead. And my score prediction was 3-2. So just off there.
Yes, I've also got another rant incoming about that game. My bold prediction was Diaz to get an attacking return, which didn't quite happen. And my score prediction was 3-0, which was close, but not too close in the end. But
yeah,
I'm still fuming about something, but I'll reveal that soon.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about your team, Clinton. Don't worry. Chelsea had a 1-1 draw versus Man United. So that was a very interesting game. My bold prediction was that Man United would win the game. It was so close, but they ended up conceding, and my scoreline prediction was 1-2 in Man United's favour. So it wasn't far off at all there, Clinton. You had
Rudiger. Close. My bold prediction was you wouldn't let me have Rudiger to have an attacking return. So I said 2 attacking returns. And believe it or not, speaking of close, he was close a couple of times. So he is looking quite dangerous, which is, I think quite appealing for those who own him like myself. And I did predict Chelsea to win 3-0, which I thought was a low prediction in the end. So I thought they would absolutely smack them. But you were close, Blake. Yes, close game indeed.
Wasn't far off at all. Rudiger's been quite impressive from the corners, comes down to get the headers. So he's playing quite well. We'll go to how my team scored on the last game week. We won't touch on this too long because it wasn't a very impressive score of 32. I dropped in the rankings by about 250k. It was just an all-round bad week. I had Son and Cornet not play, obviously, in that game. Guaita, 1 point. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 9. Alonso, who I brought in for Chilwell, scored 2. Reece James, 1. Cancelo, 1. Basuma came onto the pitch for Simicast, scored 2. Salah as my captain, scored 12. Gallagher, 2. Roja scored 2. Ronaldo scored 0 points for me. And so that means on my pitch, I had 2 scores of 0. My bench was made up of Foster, Simicast, Son, and Gallagher, who also scored 0. Not too many highlights from my team there. The Liverpool duo of Trent and Salah kept me somewhat respectable, but still well below average, and that's why I dropped in the rankings. I don't want to talk about this game week too much, so it's lucky we have a quick turnaround with the midweek fixture, Clinton.
I'd like to talk about it because I'm steaming. So let me explain. So I had 2 free transfers. I had KDB. I had lots of money, and as I said last week, I was going to get Sadio Mane. And the amount of people who, for money reasons, they chose Diogo Jota, which is obviously quite a significant amount cheaper. But to see the amount of people bragging about how good Jota is now, like Mane is the better player. He's more expensive. No one can really pay up for him. So I was really feeling quite smug that I had a great differential going into the game week. And of course, Mane blanks and Jota, what did he score? 2 goals. So I think that's one dagger in the heart. The other dagger was that I finally got rid of Melier in goals, who came through with a clean sheet, scored 8 points, but I got rid of him for Edison, which I'm not devastated about because he's a gun of a keeper and will score a lot of points down the track. But for Man City to concede in the last second of that game, when I'm tripled up in their Man City defense, so that's 12 points gone like that. That's just in clean sheet points. But then there would have been bonus on top of that. So that's why I was steaming about the weekend. But I'm happy with my team, believe it or not. So it's just one of those things that I have to just take on the chin, and it sums up my season so far. So just reading it through, I had Edison score 2, Rudiger 2, Diaz 2, Trent 9, Cancelo 1, James 1, Gallagher 2, I had Salah captain 12, Mane 3, Mbomo 2, Hwang 2. And then I had blanks on the bench also in Antonio, Sissoko, and Broha. So 38, yes, disappointing, but I'm pretty confident or happy with my team for this game week coming up. And then come the weekend, I might make a couple of moves. But disappointing in the end because we promised. I was really excited for it. The big differential I had was that I had no Spurs. So in some way, I got away with that.
Missed a bullet there.
I missed a bullet there, but then it just, the fact that I had Mane versus the Jota scores and then the Man City clean sheet wipeout in the last second, it was disappointing. That's enough for me.
Did you take a dip in the rankings a little bit there, Clinton?
I did. So I've gone from, I went from 2.3 million to 2.5. So that's ruined my, what was it, a 2 game week stretch of green arrows to another red, but I expect to get green for a long time because it should be only going north.
Yep, absolutely. I look forward to hearing what you're going to do with that team, considering you're saying how happy you are with it. So we'll go to our league now, and we've still got Scott on top, but he's getting rather shaky on top there for our league because David is making an absolute charge for him. He's only 17 points behind him now, and he scored 65 points for the game week. Andrew's in third, Dem's in fourth, and Paul is in fifth, just like the other weeks. One of the highest scorers for the game week in our league, Clinton, was Aaron Story, who's one of our Patreon members. So well done, Aaron. You must have taken on some advice from Clinton from last week's game week. I'm sure you'd appreciate hearing that. But definitely thank you for supporting us through the Patreon. If anyone else wants to have a look on there and support the show, it's patreon.com/MINYIP Fantasy Sports Community. So check that out. The other highest scorer for the game week from our league was Tyler Zebra, who scored 70, who's in 17th placing for our league at the moment. But it was a good game week for Tyler. So, yeah, well done to everyone in our league. And it's going to be very close for David catching Scott in the upcoming game weeks, which I'm sure Scott's very nervous about. He just messaging me just about after every game week saying how close he's getting. So we're very close.
David is gloating to me almost every day about it at the moment. So he's excited. He's up and about, the big fella. And just one more thing, Blake. Do you say zebra?
Yeah, zebra.
Zebra. Okay.
Yeah.
More of a zebra type of person, but everyone's a bit different.
Yeah, you say tomato. I said tomato.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, this week.
We'll go for, so yeah, we're recording on a Tuesday night because we have the Wednesday morning for our time. I think it's a 6:30 kickoff, I believe. Clinton might be even early. Yeah, 6:30 for Newcastle Norwich. So we'll get straight into it. I'll read out my bold predictions and score predictions first this game week because you did yours last game week. You're currently on 6 points on the scoreboard, and I am on 2. So let's get straight into it. So Newcastle, Norwich.
How bold are you going this week, Blake?
You'll be able to tell from my first prediction that it's pretty random this game week. So we'll see how we go. Newcastle, Norwich. I've got at least 3 goals to be scored in the match, and that every goal in the match that's scored, they'll have the letter I in their surname.
Okay. And off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you the names, but
so pretty
I'm excited by that prediction. So well done.
Pretty much every goal is going to be scored by Wilson, St. Maximin, or Pookie with the I's in their name. So every goal and at least 3 goals scored. But my overall score prediction is 3-1 Newcastle's favour.
Newcastle's favour. Okay, good. My bold prediction is that Pookie will score more than 10 fantasy points. And my score prediction is 2-2.
2-2. Very good. Expecting a high scoring game there. Leeds, Crystal Palace. My bold prediction is Guaita had to have 7+ saves. And the score line to be 1-2.
Well, I've got a similar theme in my bold prediction. I think these 2 goals are pretty good. I think there'll be a penalty saved in this game, and the score will end up 1-1.
Don't mind that. Who takes the penalties for each side? Zaha?
All depends. Milivojevic used to the last couple of years, but probably Zaha. And then Leeds is a bit of an unknown at the moment with a few injuries. No Bamford, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's Rafinha. I'm not sure.
Maybe Rafinha. Southampton, Leicester. I have got my bold prediction, a Leicester defender to get an attacking return, whether it's an assist or goal. If you have a look at their defenders and what they've done this season, it's not a lot. They've had 2 attacking returns between all the defenders for the whole season. I think it was Pereira in game week 1, and I think the other one might have been Soyuncu. But yeah, so that's my bold prediction, and the score to be 3-0 in Leicester's favour.
Okay, not bad. You've thrown me a little bit because I've got a different order for the games, but it's all good. James Madison is a player that is quite frustrating fantasy player because he'll go through patches of form and then everyone gets him and then he's disappointing. And he scored very well on the weekend. So I'm going to back him in to do that again. So I'll have Madison for at least 10 fantasy points and Leicester to win 3-1.
It was very frustrating to watch. I was nearly about to move Cornet to Madison.
When?
Last game week.
He couldn't. Madison hasn't shown anything for
a
long time.
And that's why I opted not to do it, but I was very close. A bold pick. I was very close to doing it, and it would have been a -4 hit, but it would have profited me 10 points. So it's all right. So what was your score prediction there, Clinton?
It was 1-3 in favour of Leicester.
Okay. The next game I have here is Watford Chelsea, and my bold prediction is that this will be the biggest win of the season.
Yep. What is the biggest?
The biggest so far is a 7-0 win. So this is going to be an 8. So my score prediction is an 8-0 win. Chelsea.
I should have more. I shouldn't try and get another Chelsea player then, should I?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's bold. I've got a couple more bold predictions. I'm sorry, but I did it about 2 game weeks ago. I predicted Lukaku to re-announce himself. So this is the one. He only got about a dozen minutes on the weekend, but I've got Lukaku to score at least 10 fantasy points, and he should do if he does play and they score 8 goals. I've got 4-0 Chelsea.
Boring. I've got West Ham Brighton. This is one of those bold predictions where I'm just barracking for my team, unfortunately. But I've got Basuma to score 10 fantasy points and the score to be 2-2.
Yeah, that would be bold. Jared Bowen got benched, I think, on the weekend, which is quite surprising.
He did, yeah.
I've got him to start and him to score at least 10 fantasy points, and my prediction is 3-1 West Ham's favour.
Yeah, they played pretty well last week, even though they did lose the game. Wolves Burnley, I've got Cornet to bounce back after having a week off, so he's going to score me 10 fantasy points, and I've got the score to be 3-2 in Wolves' favour.
Yep, I've got Roman Saiz to get an attacking return, which is quite random as a Wolves defender.
That is random.
And I've got Wolves to win 2-1.
2-1, very good. Aston Villa, Man City. I've got Cancelo to score a goal. He actually hasn't scored. I don't think he's scored a goal this season yet.
Yeah, I think he has.
Has he? Most of his. I thought I had a look earlier. Pretty much all of his high-scoring games, he has had an assist or a couple of assists.
Might have been Champions League. He's been scoring goals.
Yeah, well, we allow me to have that as a bold prediction then.
To score a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. And I have got the score to be 4-0 in Man City's favour.
Yes, I've got Gundogan to continue his good form. He is pretty much playing in the replacement of KDB, so I've got him to continue to score well with more than 10 fantasy points and Man City to win 3-0. And hopefully that is 3-0 this time around. Is
KDB going to be back soon?
It's a good question. Who knows? He's obviously returning from COVID, so depends on his health.
Yeah, absolutely. Everton, Liverpool. I think we'd both be happy with this bold prediction. I've got Jota to blank.
Yes.
Even though it's probably not that bold, but after the form he's been in, I'm sure you'd be definitely happy with me to have that prediction. And I've got Liverpool winning 3-0.
Well, Blake, I purposely have, with my predictions for this game week, avoided mentioning players in my team. I've tried my best to avoid that. But believe it or not, obviously we do these bold predictions without looking at the other person. So my bold prediction was jotted to blank because because of the frustration and the gloating of the podcast of the people just talking about Jota, and all of a sudden he's the world's best striker.
Yes.
And after I owned him for 5 weeks, he did nothing early in the season. So I hope everyone continues to buy him for this week and he blanks. I really want that. I like that a lot.
Yes.
And I obviously won't mention Mane. I'm hoping to score. But I had Liverpool 4-0 over Everton. But just thinking about that also, there's a lot of talk about minutes, playing minutes and players resting. If I was to have a secondary bold prediction, my bold prediction would be that the likes of Mane and Salah will start and they'll smash them in the first half, and then Salah and potentially Mane can go off at the 60-odd minute mark when they're up, whatever, 4-0, 5-0, and then they're fine for game week 15. That's what I would really like to happen, because there's a big doubt about players with the quick turnarounds and playing time. So I hope they start and dominate early, then they could get a rest.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider for this game week, with obviously the quick back around. So, players could be rested, especially if they start getting big leads. So wouldn't surprise me to see some big names having a break in the latter halves of the matches. So you had 4-0 there. Spurs, Brentford, I've got Son to score 15 fantasy points.
That's a lot.
He's due to have a big game, and I've got Spurs after having a week off, so I think they'll be fresh. They'll win 4-0.
Wow, that's very biased of you as a Tottenham supporter. Obviously, I haven't been watching them recently, but
I was purely basing it off that they've had an extra break than what Brentford have.
Yep, I'll accept your prediction, and I will say that I think Tony, although he's been a frustrating fantasy option, he's the player to continue his form. He'll score at least 10 fantasy points, and the score will end up 2-2.
Very good. He's a very good player. I always look forward to giving my Man United predictions, and this week it's exceptionally more exciting because they're against Arsenal.
Yes,
and Man United will score their first clean sheet of the season, and they will also score. So it won't be a 0-0 draw. They will score and keep a clean sheet. My score prediction is 2-0.
You disappoint me, Blake. You disappoint me. After your biased Tottenham score, then your Arsenal prediction. My prediction is that Luke Shaw will return and actually get an attacking return, but they will lose 1-2 to Arsenal.
It's Man United assets are actually something to consider, even though what's been happening with their manager and how they've been playing. They're actually assets to definitely consider going forward with their upcoming fixtures. Arsenal's obviously a tough game this week, defensive, with a tough defensive lineup, but after that, they've got one of the best runs of fixtures in the comp. So Shaw's actually on my watch list for future game weeks. So I look forward to watching that game, Clinton.
The manager will have to perform miracles to help their defensive frustrations, because that cannot keep a clean sheet. And I think even Conte is finding that at the same at Spurs. It's all well and good the manager change, but they can't perform miracles. So it will be interesting.
I think the key for Man United is just keeping Maguire off the pitch. The amount of mistakes he's made this season. But anyway, so that's the end of game week 14, where we'll run through game week 15 as well. What
I'll do, Blake, I'll go first with mine for game week 15.
Yeah, perfect.
So Yes, good luck. So obviously, game week 14 goes over a course of I think 2 or 3 mornings, and then we're literally 24 hours later we're into game week 15. So as we've mentioned, there could be a lot of rotations, whether it be you mentioned coming off late, but there is every chance that players don't start, and then depending on the game situation, could come on late in the game. So there is a chance that although you've got expensive options, that they actually come on at the 80th minute mark and then score 1 point. So you can't control it. It is what it is. So don't get frustrated if one of your best players is benched and comes on and doesn't score. It's just, you can't control it. So it's just a week of this week with the 3 games over the course of a week. And then once again, over between Christmas and New Year's, you can't control it. So don't get too frustrated about that. So game week 15, with my bold predictions, there could be injuries in game week 14, so it's not worth overthinking it. So the way I've structured up my predictions is I've chosen someone random in these games to actually score a goal.
And I've done the same.
Have you?
Yeah.
How about that? What a coincidence. So game week 15, the first game is West Ham and Chelsea. The player that I've got to score is Jorginho, and Chelsea to win 2-0.
2-0. My player to score a goal is Alonso, and I've got Chelsea 3-0.
Not bad. Newcastle, Burnley. I have Ryan Fraser to score for Newcastle, and the score to be 2-1 in their favour.
That is quite a random player.
Thank you.
My random player to score a goal is Joel Linton.
Yep.
And my score prediction is 2-1 in Newcastle's favour.
He might need an injury to Callum Wilson the next tomorrow morning, actually. Anyway, next game, Southampton Brighton. My player to score is Broha, and the score to be 1-1.
My prediction, I'm changing it up with the formula here. There'll be no goals scored in this game.
Really?
It'll be the only game for the round where no goals are scored, because these teams, they just show no output of attacking barely at all. So that's my prediction: 0-0 draw, and the only game of the round to be no goals.
Well, if you are predicting no scores to go through, it is hard for someone to score. That makes sense. Yeah. All right. Wolves and Liverpool. My random player to score is Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Liverpool to win 2-0.
Chamberlain's quite a random one.
Thank you.
My goal scorer is going to be Tsimikas, after Robertson plays this game week 14, and then he has a rest in 15.
I like that prediction.
Tsimikas is going to come on and score, and my prediction is 4-0.
Not bad. Watford and Man City. My random player, my bold prediction to score is Ruben Diaz, and 4-0 in favour of City.
Yep. Just sticking with players that are in our team, I will go with Cancelo to score again.
Wow, back-to-back games for you.
Yeah, he's gonna have a massive one.
Yeah, he's had a big week.
But my score prediction: Watford aren't going to have a very good 2 game weeks, because they're about to lose 7. They're about to lose 7-0. So the 2 weeks.
After. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of goals.
They're going to lose 15-0 over the next 2 games.
That's going to be a long few days for Watford. Yeah.
Before I decided that I was going to do a goal score for each game, my bold prediction was going to be that they're going to lose 15-0 over the next 2 game weeks.
Just imagine if that happens. Yeah, well done. Leeds and Brentford. My bold prediction is that Pinnock Pinnock
Yeah.
will score, and it'll be 1-1.
1-0. Very good. My random player that's going to score a goal, due to the few injuries and stuff around Leeds at the moment, with Bamford in doubt due to fitness, Gallagher's going to come on and score a goal for Leeds.
Really?
Yeah, he's
Gallagher.
Gallagher.
Yep.
I don't think that's Gallagher for Leeds. Gallagher. That's all right. And my prediction is 2-1 Leeds will defeat Brentford.
You know the singers of Oasis?
Yeah.
Noel and Liam. Gallagher.
How do you spell it?
The same way.
Gelhardt.
Sorry?
I'm talking about the Leeds player.
Oh, the
Gallagher.
different one.
Yeah, not the Crystal Palace Connor Gallagher.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you confused me.
I've been trying to tell you the whole time. Gallagher.
Well, you said that before. But I think you mentioned about your team, and you said Gallagher I think we were talking about Gallagher, and then
that's why
it's confused me.
I've got both of them in my team, and they're playing against each other this week for Gameweek 14. But
we'll
move on.
Confused me.
Let's move on. Man United.
No, you've thrown me. All right, Man United and Crystal Palace. Mitchell to score for Palace, and it'll be 2-2.
Mitchell. He's come out of nowhere to score a goal for Palace. My goal scorer is Shaw for United.
Wow.
He could be in my team by that stage. And I've got Man United to win 3-1. They're about to hit their straps. They're about to start firing up.
Well, after their loss to Arsenal, we'll see. Tottenham and Norwich. My player to score is Højbjerg, and they will win 2-0. There's another name for you, Blake.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm not even going to...
Højbjerg. Yeah, your turn.
That's why I didn't try and say that he was going to score a goal. I'm just going to avoid players' names that I can't pronounce from now on. And in saying that, I've got Reguilon to score a goal.
Yeah.
And Spurs... they're going to have a couple of big wins in a row. They're going to win 3-0.
Okay. I've got a tricky couple of names for you. Next one is Aston Villa and Leicester. My player to score is Buendia, and the score will be 2-2.
2-2. You reckon Aston Villa's starting to hit a bit of form now?
Well, they have won their last 2 games, and... I think Liverpool. No, who do they play? Sorry, they play. Who do they play? They play Man City. Sorry, yeah. I think they'll struggle against Man City, but I think they'll bounce back against Leicester at home. Yes, I do.
Yeah, my player to score is Lookman, and the score will be 1-3 in Leicester's favour.
Yep, not bad. And Everton and Arsenal, my player to score is Odegaard, and Arsenal will win 1-0.
Low-scoring game. They're both quite very defensive. Well, considering I've already got a 0-0 draw predicted for the game week, I can't do that again. So
you said it'd be the other one.
So I better not say that again. So I'm going to go. It's quite a random player. In Ben White's going to score a goal.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to get an attacking return, old Whitey. And so I will go Arsenal to win 1-0.
Same prediction. There you go. Well, that's the short turnaround between games, and looking forward to seeing lots of football over the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about our teams and how we think we'll structure up for the next 2 game weeks. So I still haven't made my transfers yet for game week 14, but I will make them tonight, considering it's a early lockout tomorrow morning.
Yes, do that.
Yeah, my team currently, as it stands, I haven't made any transfers. My team currently is Guaita, Cancelo, Alonso, Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Bissouma's on the pitch, Cornet, Salah, Son, Gallagher, Ronaldo on the pitch. My bench is currently Foster, Simicast, Brohart, and Gallagher. So I'm a little bit torn with what to do with Simicast. He's actually just gone down in price this morning, which is quite disappointing. But I think with the quick backup of fixtures and Robertson coming off an injury, I think I'm going to hold him. I think I might actually just keep him on the pitch for this game week and hope that he doesn't just come on and play 20 minutes. Because of the quick backup with Robertson's injury. So at the moment, my one transfer that I want to make is Ronaldo to Lukaku. I think, as you predicted over the last 2 game weeks, he's due to bounce back. They've slowly eased him back into the team, and I've got them to destroy Watford this weekend, obviously, with my prediction. So that's what I'm currently thinking of doing. Another move I could make would be transferring out Simicast to someone like a Reguilon or a Luke Shaw over either this game week or the game week after. But yeah, I'm not going to be transferring out any of Cancelo, Alonso, Alexander-Arnold, Reece James. They're set. Gallagher's got good fixtures. Son's got good fixtures, and Mo Salah's obviously a lock in everyone's teams at the moment. So Ronaldo's the one that's on the firing line. And yeah, that's pretty much, I'm going to be captaining Salah, but that's pretty much what I'm thinking of doing, Clinton.
Yeah, it's obviously very risky because normally you wait to see the player show form again after an injury. So, but in saying that, if Lukaku does score a lot of goals versus Watford, as you predict, that everyone will be starting to make that move, whether it be by the weekend or the weekend after. So, could be a smart move. But in saying that, Ronaldo did have a rest. So I know it's frustrating he scored no points in the weekend, but he did have a rest. And after his game versus Arsenal, the fixtures, as you have mentioned, they do become easier for United. So it is a bold move, but good luck.
Yeah.
And as I suggested on your wildcard, I think it was, Simicast was likely to become an issue. And now you've also, on top of that, have locked away another Liverpool asset, which you could be having elsewhere. So, it's your puzzle to solve on that one.
Yeah. I'm predicting Simicast will get minutes with Robertson having a hamstring injury not that long ago. It'd be quite risky to play him three games in a week, but you never know.
You're right, but who knows? Like Liverpool, I think Robertson will play because it's a derby versus Everton. I think Robertson will play. You'd think he'd play versus Everton, and then by the weekend, you're right. But in saying that, all of a sudden, if Liverpool are struggling to score versus Wolves and it's 0-0, hypothetically at half time, all of a sudden they might try and get Robertson into the game. So you're at risk of him scoring one for you. That's the risk. But, interesting decision for you.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm going to do Ronaldo to Lukaku unless I change my mind within the next half an hour. How's your team looking?
I'm going to bank a transfer. As I've said, I was pretty happy with how the team is structured up. Just, didn't quite go my way in the weekend. Hopefully the players do start in this midweek fixtures. The only change I'm making is actually moving Antonio from the bench to starting on, and I'm putting Mbomo on the bench, but we'll see who starts, etc. So the bench is an important aspect of all this because there's every chance some players obviously don't come on at all. So it'll end up Edison, Rudiger, Diaz, Trent, Cancelo, James, Gallagher, Salah captain, Mane, Huang, who's on thin ice, and Antonio, who's probably also on thin ice. So on the bench will end up as Broha, Bomo, and Sissoko. And that'll take me to the weekend where I'll have 2 free transfers, and in the gun, Huang and Bomo mainly. And then Antonio I would like to keep, but if he does blank versus Brighton, I think that could be the final straw because, there is some other options popping up, and there is Callum Wilson's one, and the other one is Josh King for Watford, who I'm really eyeing off as well. So for this game week 14 anyway, obviously I'm always barracking hard for a Man City clean sheet, but I'm really desperate for the fact that Mane is my big differential, and it really backfired on the weekend about Jota. So I'm hoping Mane can pay that back to me and score a lot of goals for me, whether it be versus Everton or who they play. They play Wolves on the weekend. So hopefully versus Everton, as I said, I hope Salah and Mane dominate the first half, then rest up for the weekend.
Yep, it's a very good team there, Clinton. Hopefully you'll be able to climb back up the rankings very soon. I don't know if you caught the West Ham game. Antonio was very unlucky not to get some more points there. He had an assist. He had an assist across to Ben Rama, and he had a very poor touch, which he should have put away. And he was trying to get him on the break, but I thought he was unlucky not to score more points.
I did see some good reports about how he played, and although he's been fantasy-wise disappointing recently, he does seem to be playing well. So I'm hoping that does transfer into fantasy points, and hopefully this game week especially. I'm trying not to think about that game anymore because it's one of those things. I don't watch a lot of game highlights. I just watch. The first thing I do is watch the goals, and if that goal had happened 70th minute, 80th minute, I would have been fine. But the fact that it happened at 94th minute, literally the last kick of the game, it's just a fantasy dagger. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it was a tough game week for a lot of managers last game week with Tottenham, and especially what happened with your team. That'll just about wrap us up for the show, Clinton. It's been a slightly longer episode, just with covering the 2 game weeks for the upcoming 14 and 15's game weeks that we previewed. So, make sure you follow us on the social media platforms, especially the Twitter page. Check us out on Patreon and join Aaron on there, who's flying with his team at the moment. So make sure you follow us on those platforms because there is more content coming shortly with Big Bash Cricket with the Supercoach starting this coming Sunday. So we'll be doing a show for that for the big BBL Supercoach season. So make sure you follow us on the social media platforms. There'll be upcoming leagues and a lot of content coming your way for that platform as well. Anything further to add before we finish there, Clint?
No, I don't think so. Hopefully I can get a couple of green arrows for this game week 14 and 15. And as I said, slowly crawl my way up the ranks, and I'm especially looking forward to United Arsenal. We've mentioned that game already, but I think overall the top teams have good fixtures coming up. So I'm especially interested as an Arsenal fan to see who's going to really vie for that top 4 spot, because that's where I think the top 3 are far and away the best 3 teams. What order they finish in is anyone's guess at the moment because they're all awesome. Yeah. But the 4th spot is really interesting. I'm hoping, and I think just quietly that obviously this game versus Man United and Arsenal could be a little preview, because I think United will eventually sort their things out and start playing well again soon. And obviously West Ham are performing well, so there's a few teams vying for that spot. But I think Arsenal have been just quietly going really well, and it's a big game. If Arsenal somehow manage either a draw or even the 3 points, I think that's an exciting game in terms of that top 4 race. And now that there's been a few manager changes, etc. There's a lot of pressure already in a few of the teams down the bottom of the table. So from both ends, it's quite exciting. And I'm looking forward to, as I said, that United and Arsenal game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some other teams that are vying for that top 4 spot. You've got Wolves just chasing Arsenal there, Tottenham, even Brighton's just keeping clean sheets to hold out draws, and Leicester's in 10th currently, but they're only 5 points behind on the table as well. So very good, Clinton. I look forward to watching the next 2 game weeks, and good luck for the rounds.
Good stuff, Blake.
Thanks, mate.